sometimes you get new viewers, new subscribers, and whether they be Seventh-day Adventist or any other religious group or whatever. And sometimes I feel they're watching my videos and they're not understanding what's going on sometimes. Uh, in my replies to Seventh-day Adventists, and Seventh-day Adventist replies to me. So I want to make this video to remind some people of some things that maybe they've forgotten through the year. When I debate a Seventh-day Adventist or talk to a Seventh-day Adventist on YouTube on one of my videos, most people don't realize this. I'm not debating the Bible with him because the Bible is irrelevant to them. That's just a fact. The Bible is irrelevant to them, and I'm going to show that to you in a minute. What I am debating, though, is the writings of Ellen White. What I am debating is sometimes just flat-out dishonesty. The other day I had this guy named Dish Infowars come by one of my videos called Amalgamation, Kingdom Mentality is Right. I'd made this video asking for Rushdoll 2 to give his references for his software and so forth. He wants to holler and scream that nobody gives references, or Bengali won't give references, yet he just throws this software program up there like, well, yeah, this is supposed to be true. So, and I asked him, well, what kind of software is it? How do I know all the books are in it that Ellen White wrote? So I don't know you don't have defective software. Give me the name of it, where it came from, and so forth. Anyway, a few days later, this person came by on Amalgamation's Kingdom Mentality is Right, and they put this statement. I don't know if this Seventh-day Adventist, or it could be Rushdoll for all I know, but somebody apparently is trying to defend it. And they say this, they make a statement. This guy named Dish Infowars makes this statement on that video. I have the Ellen White software on my computer. I got it once I saw Rushdoll video a couple of days ago. Obviously, I haven't been through everything, but the amalgamation quote is definitely there, end quote. And then they made a statement right up under it, and I quote, I can also confirm that both editions of the Great Controversy are in the software. There must be over 100 books and lots of other writings, included the full King James Version Bible. The software company is White Estate Software, and the software itself simply called Ellen G. White Writings. Now I want you to notice the first part of this statement now. And he says, let me quote it again. I can also confirm that both editions of the Great Controversy are in the software, to which I replied to him. It is obvious that the White Estate or someone has set the software for their own results, because there are 3 editions to the Great Controversy, not 2. So apparently it must be defective software. Or this person here just had no idea what they're talking about and hasn't even seen the software, because there are 3 editions to the Great Controversy, not 2. There's an 1858 version, there's a 1888 version, and there's a 1911 version to the Great Controversy. So, that's just total. That just shows me the software was defective some way, Kingdo. But anyway, getting back to the point though of why I say I'm not debating Seventh-day Adventists. I'm debating the writings of Ellen White, in which they must interpret the Bible by her writings, and that's just a simple fact. Let me read you something out of Testimonies, Volume 5, page 261. That's Testimonies to the Church. In there, Ellen White makes this statement, and I quote, in ancient times, God spoke to men by the mouth of prophets and apostles. In these days, he has spoken to them by the testimonies of his Spirit. There has never been a time when God instructed his people more earnestly than he instructs them now concerning his will and the course that we would have to pursue, end quote. Now, that a lot of people don't know, when she is saying that in the last days is what they're referring to, spoken by the testimonies of the Spirit, she's referring to herself. And that's a lot of what these testimonies to the church are about, is the testimonies of Ellen White. So she is the testimony of Spirit that she's referring to. And what she is saying here is, she's just contradicting the Bible to start with. She starts off right, in ancient times God spoke to men through the mouths of prophets and apostles. But it says in the last days he has spoken through his Son. She hadn't spoke through Ellen White, he spoke through his Son. But she changes it because she can override the Bible, but says, though in these days he's spoken to her through the testimonies of the Spirit. So they see her as a prophet, just like the prophets or the apostles, and now she is saying God is speaking through me in the latter days. And now let me read you another quote from Testimonies, Volume 3, page 459, and I quote, Ellen White says, I have been shown that no man's judgment should be surrendered to the judgment of any one man, but the judgment of the General Conference, which is the highest authority that God has upon this earth. When it's exercised, private independence and private judgment must not be maintained, but be surrendered. You hear, your error is in persistently maintaining your judgment of your duty against the voice of higher authority, the Lord, the highest authority the Lord has upon the earth. So what she is, end quote. And by what she's saying here is that the judgment of the General Conference is the highest authority upon earth. And when they speak, our private interpretation of the Bible, or our judgment about the Bible, goes out the window. Because when the General Conference speaks, that's the way it is. Who did the General Conference interpret the Bible by? They interpret the Bible according to the writings of Ellen White. So you see, I'm not debating the Bible with Seventh-day Adventists. I'm debating the writings of Ellen White. The Bible is totally irrelevant to them. It's what did Ellen White have to say about the Bible that's important to them. The rest of the Bible is totally irrelevant. And I've got it up in 2 of my videos, where in one of the Sabbath school quarterlies, where they are teaching this in their Sabbath school classes. And I have this quote up in 2 of my videos, where they say that when it comes to interpreting the Bible, the writings of Ellen White are to take top priority. Do you understand that? In other words, when it comes to them interpreting the Bible, it doesn't matter what the Bible says or what it teaches, Ellen White's writings are to take top priority when you're interpreting the Bible. That means if they see something and they say, well, I think this is what it means, well, they can't take that. They have to go check the writings of Ellen White, and whatever the writings of Ellen White says, it takes top priority over what the Bible really means. So you see, I'm not debating Seventh-day Adventists. I'm debating the writings of Ellen G. White. And they say they are people of the Bible. Well, they may be people of the Bible, but they're also people who do not know the Bible. They can only go by what Ellen White tells them. I was looking at I was talking one the other day, a Seventh-day Adventist, about the Ten Commandments. Of course, they won't come back in and say anything about the Ten Commandments never being given to the Christian world. They have a way of avoiding truth and heading off to their lies. Well, one of them came back and said, well, the Ten Commandments were given before Mount Sinai. Well, if that's so, I asked him, give me the verses of Scriptures that show the Ten Commandments was ever given to anyone before Sinai. Give me the verses of Scriptures, and I'll go back and look at them. Thou shalt not, thou shalt not, thou shalt not. There were laws before Mount Sinai, and there were commandments before Mount Sinai. But every time the Seventh-day Adventists see the word commandments, the only thing they think about is that's how narrow-minded they are, because that's what they're being taught. They only think of the Ten Commandments. But the Ten Commandments as a code of law never did exist before Sinai. They just see something before then. Oh, look here, here's the word commandments. That must be the Ten Commandments, and have no clue as to what it means. But anyway, I wanted to bring this out so people realize when you watch my videos and my response to the Seventh-day Adventists, I'm responding to the writings of Ellen White and the way she interpreted the Bible. See, they have no choice but to interpret the Bible the same way Ellen White interpreted it. They have no choice but to say the same things about the Bible that Ellen White says about it in The Great Controversy, Desires of the Ages, Testimonies to the Church, Steps to Christ. And yes, Seventh-day Adventists, I have every one of those books, and besides others. So again, I just want to make this video to remind people that the Seventh-day Adventists are interpreting the Bible according to the writings of Ellen White. So when I debate them, I'm debating Ellen White, not the Bible. Until next time, this is Ben Golly saying, God bless.